It's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi, and as always, I have the ladies with me. Wake in the building. Good to have you.
Fine, thank you.
Looking all nice and brown.
Thank you. Brown today is my color. Brown is my color today. And I gave all of you fans.
Oh, yes.
Well, sure, you know. So
Tell us about it, YK.
Yeah, it's this SARS Academy in 1789, you know, where they called me to come and just train the artists.
The winners, right?
The winners, there are 6 of them. I think they were funded by a record company abroad or something,
right.
You know. So these are the 6 finalists.
Okay.
I think they were 11,000.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine? So these are the 6
Wow.
stars.
So you're getting to train them and dance.
Yeah, not
Stage
that.
presence.
Yeah,
Stage
stage
presence.
is more like
Are
straight.
you recording these things? We need to post some of the clips on social media.
Not
YK.
me. The people are recording, but me, you know me, I can't.
They need to,
Wrap
so
my
that
hand.
people know that YK is still in the game. You gotta know that YK is doing this stuff, you
I'll
know?
try and record today and post.
Please post some so that we know that
try.
yeah, 60 and doing big things.
Yes.
Mariam,
Inspiration for a lot of us. Hi.
hi, the published author. How's our book doing?
Our book is doing well. We're still pushing it.
fantastic.
We're not in Barnes and Nobles like some of you.
Oh,
But
please.
would like to get there someday.
Barnes
Barnes
and
and
Noble.
Noble. That's where actually our book is. So.
What's Bonds and Noble?
Barnes be
Okay.
YK. Anyway,
Why does not buy books?
how you doing, Jerry?
I'm fine. I'm wearing my mom's dress. I just said, what? Bring that dress. I'm wearing it.
It's
Yes.
lovely.
Thank you.
You made it from just here
Yes.
in Lagos. Oh,
yes.
wow.
Made from
Not just
In Lagos.
Just people feeling the design. Just very pretty.
this is for me, not you. I grabbed it and wore it.
And
Nice.
it's really lovely. It's
Thank
really,
you.
I love the colors.
Yes, that's what got me. And
You
the
didn't bring
pattern.
snacks for us this time. What was
Don't mind me.
didn't
It
bring-
was really because I wanted to reduce the calories. So I warned her. I said, you bring it now, I'll sit down, I will eat everything. But
Bring what? What does she bring?
all this,
all this alewa, kantu,
I
you
don't know them.
coconut candy.
why you don't give YK?
Doesn't give me.
Wanya has never, do you understand? You know she's always traveling.
Yeah, so
As
she's
you said,
hardly
guest
around.
appearances, that's what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did that, but let me come to you.
Very well, thank you.
Anything happening?
Yeah, I checked tickets to China and Japan because I'm planning to meet my R&D partners, but the prices I've been saying, it looks like a suicide mission. So I'm looking
Is
for
it R&D? That's research and development?
research and development.
Okay.
Yes, you know,
business.
for my business.
Okay.
You know, I make smart fashion accessories,
I don't.
smart glasses.
I don't know that
Oh,
you
don't
know.
know?
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
that.
make,
Okay.
smart fashion accessories, smart glasses like the one I'm wearing. You can take your calls with them, listen to music.
Oh, you're kidding
Yeah,
me.
rechargeable handbags.
You make them
wallets.
yourself?
Yes, I design them.
You design them
yeah.
and they make it for you.
Yes,
Oh,
and
that's
then-
cool.
So we planned to meet next month, and then I checked tickets. So I'm having to move my trip right now so I can plan properly.
Nice.
Yeah. So nobody should come near me with billing because right now my body is.
Talking about billing, you know, I put out a number for people to order my phone, for order my book.
Yeah.
And all I get is requests for help. I mean, me, gullible me. I sent out money yesterday. My husband was like, are you okay? You know, I was really upset. And my PA just came in this morning that you have to tell people, please, the phone number on my page is not it's not a helpline. I keep getting messages. They want to buy medication. They want to pay for school fees. Their husband is sick. Their wife's, back to back. And you know, if you catch me at a time when I'm really emotional, I feel like Holy Spirit is telling me, and I'll now send money. But then I'm getting the messages back to back.
But you don't know which is real and which is not.
Even if they're all real, I can't attend to everybody else. How much money do I have?
You cannot.
Exactly.
So,
Money, you're
Which money? Excuse me, do you know how much I'm earning? Should I tell you how much I'm earning? I'm saying, let's not assume. I'm saying,
people, you see, that's the thing about being on TV. People just assume
that you have money.
you have money. You know,
I'm a salary earner like everybody else.
it's such a wrong assumption because I think we have the least because people keep asking. So
Yeah.
this one that you have to give out.
Absolutely.
Because we have political friends, they think we go and ask them for money and they just dash us money and we just have
Yeah,
people.
And even for our political
I
friends.
don't
They
think
come
political
here
friends.
and
They
No,
come on the
goes
show.
and looks at me.
But they come on the
Say,
show,
this fella
and once you come on the show, like, they automatically they're your best friends,
That's what
and they
they
don't
think.
feel as if they are giving you money.
Like, you have
Please,
meeting people, oh,
I'm a TV presenter. Let's go on a break.
I like your hair, by the way.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. Emefiele opts for plea bargain in alleged 6.69 billion naira fraud case. 18 fighter jets to boost NAF fleet. Wagner leader Rogozin feared killed in crash. UK's first womb transplant raises fertility hope for women. Lagos Assembly holds clearance for Abayomi Adeyoye, 15 others. Wike gives 8 months completion date for Abuja Light Rail project. Illegal fabrication of AK-47 ongoing in Lagos, CP tells IG. And APC fills vacant NWC and zonal offices. Which story are we starting with in The Nation?
Can I start with the Lagos Assembly?
Please.
That shocked everybody. They did not clear Professor Abayomi, Mrs. Adefisayo, the Gbenga Omotosho. They have not given us a reason as to why they didn't clear them. But because I was listening to the radio as well, when they ask, they all say, is it yes or no? No! Wow. All of them will now shout. And, you know, the reason I'm taking this story, because these are people that worked.
Yeah.
They were in the last administration and
health,
they worked.
Education.
Health. Professor, during COVID, do you remember what? Yes. That Professor about me, he lost weight. He's already skinny. He lost weight. He was everywhere. Mrs. Adefisayo, I don't know, I've never met her, but I know what she did with the education she was. And you know, these are commissioners that worked. You are seeing them on the job.
Yes.
Going, Gbenga Omotosho, there's nothing that comes. And then he's ready to answer journalist questions. He will come on the show, give him, and he would answer very simply. You know, he was a very transparent human being. And now you don't confirm them. Please, can you give me a good reason? You have to. You can't just tell us you're not confirming them. You have to tell us why.
Why? Please.
All right.
Why? Is it because everybody is now gossiping?
Like
That
it's not our hot topic.
It's
We'll
not.
discuss it. It's an important topic to be discussed. Right now we're reviewing the papers. So let us finish the papers and then we can always discuss it. Is it okay, YK? Yeah, you're right. A lot of Nigerians are asking questions. And these are questions that need answers to. But first, let's review the papers. So any other story in Nation, Mariam?
I do.
Yes, I have a story. Wagner leader Prigozhin feared killed in a crash. And this is coming just 2 days after he released the video that they were in Mali to help Mali fight against the insurgents. I took the story yesterday about how their arrival led to some agitations on the continent. Now he has been reported to be killed in a crash in Russia. And we're wondering how. You were in Mali just 2 days ago, saying you were protecting, this country. So what's happening? But then there are speculations that this is related to the failed mutiny that was staged against the Russian states. And the CIA is also speculating that this is a revenge from President Putin, who had thought that his behavior in June, I think June this year, he had said that his behavior was a betrayal to the Russian state, and then the CIA is thinking that this crash is a revenge for what happened. So fingers are crossed. President Biden said he's not surprised that this happened, and then investigations are still going as to ascertain what actually happened.
So the minister of the FCT, Hurricane Nyesom Wike, has frowned at the dysfunctional state of the Abuja Light Rail project. He was doing his inspection, his very first inspection after he became the minister, confirmed minister. And he noted that the task of restoring the Abuja Metro line had become crucially fundamental as part of the President Bola Tinubu's promise to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians. And he was there with the Minister of State for FCT, Hajia Mairiga Mahmood, and other government officials. And he said that the rails, he has given the permanent secretary I think 18 months, I believe. Let me see. Trying to get the exact number. So he's giving them to pay the outstanding money ASAP so that they can actually complete the light rail. This was money from the China Exim Bank, he has said that they must repair this within, I think is, I'm trying to get the exact date, but I don't have it anymore. But pretty much has just given a standing order that rail must be fixed ASAP so that people in Abuja would have the light rail working as soon as possible.
Well done.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. So I have this story, the Commissioner of Police, that's the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, at the inauguration of the Complaint Response Unit by the Acting Inspector General of Police, he complained that there's an increasing local expertise in the fabrication of firearms, including replicas of foreign-made pistols, AK-47, and other assault rifles. He said that added to that, we have cultism, which of course shows potent security danger. Then he said, then we also have threats of armed robbery, kidnapping, murder, sexual and gender-based violence. This is Lagos State we're talking about. Oh. He says they're also every day constantly dealing with the thin line between civil and criminal dynamics of land disputes, which is very prevalent in the state. He says that of concern is also the traffic gridlock as a result of roadworks going around, and traffic robbers have taken advantage of that. So these are the challenges that they're constantly having to deal with here in Lagos. He said hardly a day passed without the ever-vigilant operatives of the command recovering weapons and illicit drugs of various descriptions at stop and search points, raids of black spots, and other operational engagements. And all such recoveries linked to perfection of crimes across the state. That is our crime profile for Lagos State. But he's also saying that they're working, hard to make sure that it's better. And that's why the CRU is being built, and it will help, support in crime fighting.
Okay, Waki, any story, Nation?
Nation, I took the first story.
Oh, you did? Oh, I guess. Moving on now to the Punch. State's debt may hit 1.34 trillion over the palliative loans. Picture here of fleeing drug baron crushes NDLE officer, agency launches a manhunt. Man drives tractor into market, destroys 320 million naira property. Senate probes public procurement under Buhari. Assembly drops Abayomi 16 Sanwo-Olu nominees, confirms only 22. Naira tumbles to 900 naira to the dollar. CBN vows bureau de change operators clamp down. And panic as rogue killer soldiers spread death in Lagos roads. Let me take the picture story. So the NDLE, I think many of us have seen the story online, has launched a manhunt for a drug dealer by the name of Shounmi Kayode, who is now on the run after crushing an operative with his luxury car. According to the story, NDLE had gone to his house to search in Lekki on Friday. And while they were searching, Abayomi was driving into his compound. And once he spotted the NDLE officials, he reversed immediately, pushing down his own gate, crushing into the opposite house's fence, and then driving right into his neighbor's house. So once he saw the damage on the car, his car couldn't move. He rushed out of the car and went on his heels. The officers tried to chase him, but obviously they couldn't find him. So while reversing to his gate, he had knocked down an operative of the NDLA who broke a few ribs and they fractured some of his two legs, and is currently in the hospital. So during the search, they found 10.5 kg of loud, and they now have launched a manhunt for his arrest. So
that's him?
That's him, yeah, on the front page. Okay, any other story in Punch?
I found very funny that they put his picture on the front page, and
inside the paper, they blurred it. And I'm thinking, who's fooling who here? Right. Okay, which other story?
Okay, I was going to take the rogue officers. There is panic in Lagos, in Nigeria, as rogue officers have taken to stealing cars and killing the drivers. I took a story on Tuesday about the senator's aide who had been killed. Then Nima sent me the driver, pictures of the driver too, who was killed. His name was Lawal. And there are many more. There's this Bolaji guy who was killed because he parked in front of the Lagos Oriental Transport. Yeah. And he was killed. He didn't die. He wasn't killed, he was shot. He didn't die. And the army keeps saying they're investigating. The Lagos State House of Assembly has demanded
immediate investigations.
Yes, immediate investigations into the matter. The senator has given they've got contribution of 55 million for his aide that was killed to give to the family. To train the children until secondary school level.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Mariam?
Have here the naira tumbled against the dollar at the power market on Wednesday. That was yesterday, closing at 900 naira to a dollar. They said this comes 2 weeks after the local currency was sold at 960 to the dollar. We also remember that in recent days, there had been, the local currency had traded between 850 and 880, but then it's falling again by Wednesday. On Wednesday, the naira fell further at the power market, which also fell on the investor and exporter window to 773 to the dollar. The local currency closed at 757 at the I&E window on Tuesday. So we have BDC operators that are in Lagos, Kano, and Abuja, and all of them also gave that by Wednesday they were selling between 895 to 900. So the central bank has, sat down with BDC operators, and also remember that there was a circular that had been sent out saying that there's a particular margin that BDC operators should trade the currency, and it should be between minus 2.5% to plus 2.5%. Anything above that, they would be reprimanded, or they will face the consequences. And so yes, they're telling them by 31st of August, the circular would take effect.
Okay.
I'm surprised, Cha, that they are not able to, because it was very low last week.
Yeah, because they injected $3 billion into the system. So
everyone went and bought them, and then up the price must have been what happened?
Daily Sun, FG Emefiele explore plea bargain option. Fuel subsidy removal. I'm shocked, scared of federal government's plan. A lack of plan for Nigerians, says Obaseki. Lagos Assembly rejects 17 commissioner nominees. National Assembly to revisit gender equality bill, assures Akpabio. Job scam probe, reps angry. over refusal by 300 MDAs to honor summons, issue final warning. We won't tolerate failure, Nigerians warn ministers. NDLA launches manhunt for Lekki drug dealer who crushed operative. And UK pledges to work with ECOWAS leaders to restore civil rule in Niger Republic. Okay, which story are we starting with in Daily Sun? Let me talk about our dear President of the Senate, called Julius Agwu, has assured Nigerian women that the gender equality bill will be revisited even after all the setbacks of the past years. He made this promise when the International Conference on Women in Governance, organized by the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies in Abuja, came to see him. He was saying that if we look at his antecedents, he's one of those governors during his administration. He ensured that women took proper position and were well represented in high positions in his cabinet. Says that he promoted gender equality in all aspects of life, and especially in the public sector. He said that this is in recognition of the immense contributions that women make, and he has consistently argued that Nigeria, to become truly great, must, as a matter of emergency, must invest and empower its women. He stated that the approach of the challenge of the women on impressive numbers in all levels of governance must be beyond a token, but must actually be intentionally done. So he's excited about it, and he believes that that more women should actually lobby to be able to get this bill passed, and he will do everything within his power to support the bill to be passed in his own tenure as Senate President. We'll see how that goes. And that story in Sun?
Yeah, so there was a press conference in Abuja by a coalition of pro-democracy group. They call themselves the Natives. They had their supreme leader of the Natives, Olalekan Smart Edwards, and his message to the ministers. He's urging the ministers to help the president to perform better than his predecessor, stressing that the country deserves better than the past. They said that we're total and firm believers in renewed hope administration, so we'll give you citizen support. We will be at your doors. We will keep you on your toes. They're talking to the ministers. Meet you in the field, monitor and evaluate your progress, and we will not be afraid to spot you out or call for you to be booted out. This time around, Nigerians must win. They also said that they have examples like China and Singapore before, and Rwanda before them, and so they should know what to do. But at this time, they're threatening that they will campaign for sack of under.
That's this reps. Reps?
Yes. This group, this is a pro-democracy group, calling on ministers that, see, this time around, we are not going to just watch you lay around. We will make sure that you do your job. We'll have our eyes on you. We'll keep you on your toes. We'll ask you questions. And if you underperform, we will campaign for your removal.
Okay.
Okay.
Daily Sun?
Yes. Job scam probe. Reps angry over refusal by 300 MDAs to honor summons, issue final warning. So the House of Representatives ad hoc committee investigating this job racketeering in ministries, departments, and agencies has frowned at the slow move of about 300 parastatals to appear before it and give account of their stewardship. So the committee chairman, Mr. Yusuf Adamu Gaddi, he's saying that the committee would not hesitate to wield the big stick on any agency that fails to appear before it. He goes on to say that there is no MDA that has an excuse not to show up, even if they've gotten their letter or not. They should have seen the publication in the newspapers and they should show up. One of the agencies being probed is the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria. And the committee noted that Benue, Rivers, Kebbi, Ogun, Ebonyi, Kano, Oyo, Taraba were the least represented in their hiring process. And in response to that, the president of the MPGMC said that it got the waiver to employ only 37 in 2019, but it was able to recruit 22. However, the chairman still said that even those 22 that he employed still did not reflect, the representation of these states. So they're still probing, and then we'll see how it goes.
All right, moving on quickly now to Vanguard. Niger, Algeria, Egypt oppose military action, seek dialogue. Nigeria needs quick fix to economic challenges. Eneka tells new ministers. PDP Adebutu's case against Governor Abiodun distorted, says NPC. Elevator crash immortalized Diaso, NMA tells Lagos governor. Wike denies purchasing 300 million naira bulletproof SUV. There'll be zero tolerance for procurement fraud in MDA, says Senate.
Okay.
And alleged 6.9 billion naira fraud, immediately exposed plea bargain. Let me take the MDA, which is kind of related to what you took earlier. So the Senate, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Public Procurement, Senator Monday Okpebolo, has said that the 10th Senate, working with the president, would not tolerate any procurement fraud. Let me even say it very slowly. Any procurement fraud in the government or the ministries or all the MDs. According to him, many wrongs will be corrected. We want to make sure only qualified persons can get contract jobs they tendered for. The federal lawmaker said that all those are calling for bids and lining up people up for rigorous pre-qualification. Sorry, actually, let me say that again. He said that when they line up people who are pre-qualified to get these bids, the practice in the past is that people will just come from the behind and take the contract. That will stop in this new Senate. That said, this Senate due process must be followed. They want the country to experience a new era of procurement and commitment to the rule of law. I can assure you that this Senate is sincere about the new deal and we are bringing forward in accordance with the renewed hope of our president. So I like what I'm hearing, and this is the senator representing, I think, is Edo. And I'm happy that Niger Delta minister, trying to see the way he's representing here. But the point is that I'm happy that the Senate from this article seems to be aligned with this renewed hope agenda, because that's all Nigerians want. If you are saying renewed hope, let everybody be aligned. So I'm happy that he's speaking this way, and I will hope that they're able to ensure that procurement for contracts for the federal republic follow due process. It's not about who I know, you know. All right.
So I wanted to take the Wike story about the purchasing. He denied purchasing any 300 million naira bulletproof SUV, and he actually said that it isn't fair that they spread rumors about people, and he said, if you don't believe me, let's go to the car, go and knock the roof of the car whether it's bulletproof. So the journalists too, they went to the car, knocked the car, and that it wasn't bulletproof. So he's saying, please, that it's the car that they gave him that he's using. That as governor, he had cars, but as minister, he has not purchased any car. It's what the PAMSEC gave him that he's using.
Okay, any other story in Vanguard?
Yes, I have the enemy Lagos chapter has urged the Lagos state government to immortalize Dr. Diaso. We remember the late doctor that lost her life in the elevator crash. And so they're asking, that she be immortalized by naming the House officers' quarters after her. There was also like a panel sitting, and we have Dr. Benjamin Olojebutu, who lamented that upon inspection of the House officers' quarters, one of the elevators making up the two-lift system was disabled, and its part was used in repairing the damaged elevator. He also said that Lasiama was called so that they could, have a conversation with them, and they did not make that invitation. They did not honor that invitation. There are so many recommendations that they made, concerning their own investigations and what they noticed. And a few of them is that they should get qualified professionals to carry out the design, supervision, installation of public assets. Okay, and one of the things about Lasiama not showing up was that they were unable to go through their agreements and papers to find out what exactly the issues were. And so based on that, they gave a few recommendations to the Lagos state government.
Okay, I think that's all we can take on paper review. When we return, move on to the hot topic of the day. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we saw an article by The Nation said that my ex-wife married me for money, says Julius Agwu. And then when we read the article, what Julius Agwu actually said, I'd like to actually read what he said so that we are on the same page. What he said is that, I believe that any marriage without God would not last. When I married my wife, I did not even consult God. Some of us got married when there was so much money at the time, particularly when practically every girl wanted to be with us. But after marriage, if anything happens to anyone, they would say, I don't want this man again. I suggest that people should consult God first before getting married. So that's exactly what he said, which was therefore implied by the nation, that he was saying that his first wife had, or his wife had married him for money. However, we're not focusing on the conversation he had. The point we're trying to say this morning is in the part of why do people get married, and why do we always criticize people for the choices they may have made in getting married? Is it wrong for somebody to say, I'm marrying for money? I'm marrying just to have kids? I'm not the lovey-dovey type. I just want to have kids and I'm done. Is it wrong for somebody to decide to marry just because they want to become a housewife? People have different reasons, but why do we judge people for the reasons they choose to get married in the first place? Let me come to the ladies. I don't know what your thoughts are, because we get a lot of people saying, you must fall in love, be sure that God really, ask God for it, and you must really meet somebody. And some people will say, mine was an arranged marriage. I didn't fall head over heels. I married the guy. After that, years later, we fell in love, and I'm fine. So there are different ways of getting married, but sometimes people also choose to marry for money. I can say, Mariam has a lot of money, and I want to marry her, period. Why, therefore, does society judge somebody for this kind of choices? Mariam.
I think it is answered by Julius Agwu in a way when he says that every marriage should sort of have God as its foundation, because if it was about money like he did, like he had, when things go wrong, they would leave you for that. It's okay to marry for whatever reason. That's your choice, but also realize that whatever reason it is that you're getting married for, that it has its benefits and it has its consequences. So be willing to face both. Some people would say, you know what, I came from a very poor family, things were tough. I'm not going to suffer all this my life, to become an adult and still go through the same issues that my parents went through. And so I'll marry someone who has a lot of money, may not necessarily love me, I don't love the person back, may not even necessarily be faithful to me, maybe some of our values don't even align, but he has the money and that's all I care about. And then you go in there, you cannot be there after a few years and be complaining about other things, because if the money is there, now there he falls sick. I guess as long as the money is there, you'll be there. Now the problem will be with the person who is being married for their money. Do you know that that's why you're being married? For just your money. You also have to determine the sort of people you want in your space. Yes, I have a lot of money. Because I have a lot of money, I will pick any person I like, It doesn't matter what her values are. It does not even matter what, I have a lot of money, I can get anyone I like. And in that case too, when the money leaves, you have to also leave with the consequences of realizing it was because of my money I knew that I could be with this person. A lot of things that values were not there. So now that the money is gone, then I will accept that he or she would leave because it's not there.
Let me come to you, because I think the conversation really is, how do we begin to help society accept the reality of their choices? Because we want everything to go through this filter of, this is how you should meet somebody, get married, and this is how you should end. But societies are changing. People are making choices for different reasons. And I think even if as a man, whoever got married to you, somebody married you for money, you should accept the fact that once that money is gone, or maybe once something happens, once factors change, it will change. Maybe the person will leave. And it's something you must be willing to accept and not make an issue out of, don't you think?
Yes. For me, I said on the show on Saturday that people tend to marry for the wrongest reasons. They want to pepper their friends, or they want to show off, or some people think because they're getting old, they just want to...
Is that a wrong reason?
Yeah, because you don't have
makes it wrong?
You don't have to commit yourself to a lifetime journey just because of that trivial reason. I think that reason is too trivial.
Trivial, therefore, is relative.
Because you are old, you just want to settle down.
Yeah.
But you can just have a companion by the side. Both of you have an understanding. You don't need to do any marriage or make it elaborate before you actually feel fulfilled with your reasons. And then communication is key. We always say it on this show. You have to, even if you're married the person for the money, be clear about it. Don't deceive your partner to say, oh, I love you, you are the sugar in my tea and the cockroach in my cupboard. You have to say, this is what I want, this is what I'm putting on the table. Oh, this is what I am coming for. You are rich,
I like that you are rich and you can make my life comfortable. So let that person also agree to the fact that, okay, this is an arrangement. I take care of your needs, you too, you take care of my needs. It's an understanding. Just put it on the table. And of course, a lot of men, I also want to correct this notion that a lot of men think that girls are coming in for their money. It's not just men. It's not just women that marry men for their money. Men also marry women for their money. In fact, the guys that we have these days, they are constantly looking for self-made women. They'll ask you your surname. They'll ask you think they're having a conversation with you. They'll say, what's your surname? Because they want to check your family background, the secondary school you've gone to. They want to, check your trajectory, exactly, to see, is this one going to be a perfect catch for me? So it goes both ways.
Okay, Waike, let me come to you.
Let's put it on the table.
I was just going to say to you that a woman that tells a man that I'm marrying you for money, that man is not going to marry her. So she can't have that conversation with the man that, oh, it's your money. Because that one, if I was a man, if I were a man, even a woman, and a man comes to me for my money that I don't have, and that's what I'm marrying you for. Of course.
Okay, let's put it this way. A young, beautiful girl, maybe she's 30 years old, right? And she's doing very well, and she feels like, I want the lifestyle of the rich and famous. And then she meets a 70-year-old man who is obviously retired, he has a lot of money. It's clear she wants to, and she's very open about it. Listen, I want security, I want that, and she goes into that. The point is that she makes her decision, but why does society now judge somebody like that? Because that's what this conversation really is about. Should we begin to change the perspective? Who defines why I should get married? If I'm 45 and what I'm looking for is just somebody to marry, I can make that decision. Like, you know what, I'm not here to be doing lovey-dovey. I want to eat, I can't sleep. I want a man who is responsible. I'm not here to do I'm here and we can be partners, we can marry, we can do that, but it's my choice. I'm not here for lovey-dovey. I'm here for two companions coming together as adults. So the point is that society must begin to have these conversations where let us stop judging every relationship to be based on you fall in love, you get married, you have kids, and great. They can be different ways. I can decide to marry for any reason. If I say, you know what, I'm done, my first husband is this, I want to have 3 husbands, why should society judge me? In my own family right now, there are plenty of people that have married many husbands, and they're okay, and they're living well today. So that's really what we're trying to have the conversation about. Why should we begin to understand that people have different reasons and should be respected for the choices they make?
I think the point should be, we should tell society not to judge people if they decide not to get married the normal way. So just like you said, I'm a 45-year-old woman. I don't have any kid. I've never been married. I just want to have a child on the side. I don't want to be married.
Exactly.
It's not compulsory. So the society should not diminish the woman's success just because she does not have a husband, just because she's not a missus. I think by the time the society begins to redefine or get used to different ways where people can, procreate or be married, then we will have less judgments. People will not get married for the wrong reasons because because they're seeking societal validation. They will not want to do what is really, really in their heart, what they really, really want to do. A lot of times I've put it on the table. If marriage happens, fine. If it doesn't, and then some of my friends look at me and say, oh, it's because you already have a kid, so you enjoy your freedom. I said, no. Because it's not a do-or-die affair. You don't have to kill yourself just because you want to be a missus. And then women too. Let me just land on this point. Okay. Some women too, the way they have carried that marriage on their head, like if it doesn't happen, they have not achieved anything. By the time they get married, they'll tell you, you cannot be calling me by my name again. My name is now Mrs. You can tell that they adore this. You're fine, it's okay, but it's not everything.
Yeah, I was also going to say that because...
Mike, let me let you... We have to pause you. I have to go on a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
thanks for staying with us. All right, so we're discussing what Julius Agwu had implied concerning why his first wife married him, and I was going to come to YK. You're going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was going to agree with you when you were talking about women put marriage on their head. If I do marry, I'm not a woman. I'm less than a human being because I haven't found a husband. So they start getting this, because yesterday I heard the story of a girl or a woman. She's a woman now who married her husband, and the day before the marriage, or just before the marriage, the man beat her black and blue. So not only that, when they got home, he beat her and threw her out into the gutter, pushed out of the car. And her mother said, no, you must get married, though. You don't, and she married the man. And of course, you know, so in that kind of situation, you must, it's not because I want to be married that I'm going to
all right, so
and be in such a negative situation.
Yeah, right.
You know, I have to marry for the right reasons. And for me, I mean, your own might be money. And if it's money that is your own, I think, please, feel free.
Yeah.
Feel free.
Okay, I want us to link this up with the story that trended last week. Farida, the King Farida, and her estranged husband, Odulaja. And I know they discussed it on Saturday on Your View, but going back to why do we get married? You know, why? What are the reasons? Is it societal pressure? Is it the fact that you feel that you're getting to the middle age and you want to settle down? Or do you get judged for your history, your back? Look at, like, people say, oh, she was promiscuous. According to the husband, she was very promiscuous. She was sleeping around with different people, and but you married her. And when you know somebody who, you know their antecedents, what they've done in the past, and yet you made the decision to marry, who therefore gives you the right to judge the person after the fact. So these are the conversations we need to have on why do we get married, and why is it important for society to, and my own concern really is accepting people's choices. So this woman, let's bring the story to the issue of Farida, for example, because I know that the husband had come out. I mean, you guys had focused on why she did what she did, which I'd probably like you to do a bit of a recap for those of us who haven't seen that story. But the husband had then recently responded saying that she was sleeping around, and that's why, and he's not a gigolo, that he's a well-made man. His father was very notable person, and he grew up in wealth, and that he was
first class.
He always traveled first class. You know that. So I mean, so you're trying to tell us who he is.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember Farida was a lady that wanted to jump last week, Thursday. She wanted to kill herself on 3rd Milan Bridge. She was about to kill herself, and she was stopped by bystanders. Now, the question is, why did she want to jump? There are various factors. She was saying that, could you give us what was her reasons for wanting to jump?
She just said because her marriage crashed and she could not face the shame. So she
now, so let us discuss this thing called shame. I mean, let's start with the husband's response, right? Then we'll come to the issue of shame.
Sorry, I just want to read a YouTube from, I have to say, Mount Rushmore. It says, a woman who is not married is incomplete.
We'll come to that in a minute. We'll come to that in a minute.
Okay. Mentalities.
Yeah.
We'll come to that in a minute. Go ahead, Mariam.
Yes. So today we have read his own response. So I think the first one we heard the story of this lady Farida trying to commit suicide because her marriage had ended just 2 months after a huge, elaborate wedding ceremony. You know, people said a lot of money was spent for that ceremony. And then to hear his response, it shook me. He said they had dated 20 years. They have known 20 years. And then they get married and they couldn't stay 2 months. How did they cope in 20 years? And then now in 2 months they couldn't stay. But he gives his reason. He says she's promiscuous, she's covetous, you know, all these things. And was this something she showed in the 2 months that they got married? What was it that encouraged him, you know, to go ahead to marry her in the 20 years that they had been together? Many times when we hear of marriages, you know, crashing.
Mariam, in the 20 years, they've been off and on. It wasn't consistent for 20. Interestingly, I had watched, I sat down with this story over the weekend. So I heard a few parts of it. The man and this lady had dated and different people. There was another lady who he also really cared about. So it was between both of them. And when he came back to Nigeria, according to him, he was arrested in the US and he was in prison for about a year. He came back home to resettle and he wanted to get his life on track. Yeah. So it was now between these two women, and he now finally decided on Farida. So I think, but because they had a history. But maybe he felt that she had changed, and she had always said, I've changed, I'm a new person. And then she got into the marriage, and they started seeing a lot of drama going on. But the point, I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty, because I really don't want to get us into the grand life effect. What I want us to understand, these two people, I would like to say that they are two adults who have done a lot of awful things, I would like to say, in the past together. But as adults, they have agreed to marry for whatever reason, right? Why is it therefore difficult for them a woman like that, to accept what I have done, own it with your full chest, go into this marriage with confidence, boldness as a new bride? The man too, with his filth and all the drama he has done in the past, come into this union with boldness and confidence. You know, we are here is it the immaturity that causes two grown adults to come in, albeit with your baggage, and not be able to fix and have a united stand, a front? I mean, that's my worry. So that comes to the issue of shame. So because I'm coming with baggage, why should I be ashamed of my baggage? I could have been a prostitute all my life and say, you know what, I have finally fallen in love and I want to stay here. And why, therefore, should he in the marriage to judge me because of my past? That for me is demonic.
It's true, because you know who it is that you're getting married to. Even if the relationship was on and off over the 20 years, the thing is, you know to a large extent who this person is. And you made a decision to get married to that person, knowing your past, both of them. Now that you're in it, it's, I feel like in your introduction, you sort of, discussed the whole thing, because you have said, is it immaturity? Did you really love each other? What did you think marriage would change for you that it didn't change before, you got married? What is it that was so... Now with marriage is, maybe you don't have where to go. If you're in a relationship and you're upset with someone, you can pack your load and just move on. But in a marriage, you're still meant to stay in the same room with that person. And maybe that marriage thing can be such a constraint. Like, okay, you know what? I'm so upset with you. I don't even want to sleep in the house today. And then there are expectations of, now you're a married man, no matter how upset you are, you cannot just go off and spend 2 days out, or a married man spend 2 days out before you come in. So if they break up now, would it be that they're still able to have a relationship but not within marriage? Yeah. I just think that it has a lot to do with the individuals themselves. They are not mature. Maybe they didn't really love each other, because if you did, you would forgive what your past sins are and try and face the future.
I heard that the man, according to her, the man used to body shame her, telling her to go do plastic surgery, say she was big, she had to go and do stuff. She was using all sorts of herbs to, to lose weight and stuff like that. So that's not love.
They didn't love each other. Simple.
That's why we keep saying that you should marry for the right reasons. Because if they had just understood each other to say, you know what, we don't have to commit ourselves to this lifelong journey. Let's just be enjoying ourselves. Day your day, let me day my day. It would have been easier. And if they have any kind of issues, they can easily just part ways, but not spend so much money on a union that is not based on love. And then again, this man, according to him, was dating her when she was married to her ex-husband. So what was he expecting? She was cheating with you, and you expect her to come into the relationship and be a saint. So sometimes you just wonder how people...
I can spend $1 billion on my wedding because I feel I'm marrying the person. No, I can. It's my choice. I'm an adult. I'm not a child. I have chosen the money.
Absolutely.
Now, 2 weeks later, it messes up. I'm an adult. I can move on. And that's the maturity we need in relationships today. Okay, I've lost $1 billion on this wedding. Okay, I'm still alive. I mean, it's hard. I'm not going to pretend. It's going to be tough. But we must be able to live with our errors and our mistakes. And I think it's the strength of character that we need to begin to look at. We need to take Farida's episode as feedback to us as women, as men in relationships, that BS would happen.
Absolutely.
But you must be strong enough to, you know what, because it's not over until it's over. Because if she had jumped, it would be over. But it's not over because as long as you have life, you can still have. So I know it's, as I said, it's easier said than done. When you're in that position where you've lost $100 million for a wedding, maybe like go
But
build.
it wasn't really the money she lost.
Yeah.
It was the backlash that she...
Backlash from who? From the clown.
Exactly.
See, whenever, let's talk about this backlash.
But I'm looking at these people, and I think these are people that backlash would affect them. So you, through that sort of wedding, it wasn't really about your love, because clearly we can see that you don't love each other to forgive past mistakes and move on from there. You are people that your life is determined really by how people view you and how they perceive you. So here we are, this wealthy couple. We've spent so much money, you know, so that we can read about this wedding and look at what we do, you know. So I can understand why these people would be, it would affect them what society or what the public says. But there are many people that are just as wealthy as them who maybe have even spent as much money in a more, but live a quieter life. And when they're able to go their separate ways, it's not a problem what you say. You say your say and I move on. See, maybe her going as far as trying to commit suicide, maybe we can just tell women that, you know, there's always the next day. You will wake up and it will be brighter the next day. What is so hard to handle today, it may get easier the next day. When we see that our friends are in a tough place, if we're lucky that they're able to talk to us, let us remember to rally around them. Let's not just assume, you know, but obviously if she didn't speak to anyone, maybe she thought jumping up. And this is a woman that has children. For her to have gotten that far, it must have really broken her. But I just say, yes, but it doesn't matter. They had children. The thing is, just know that you can stay back, calm down. Nigerians will talk about something else tomorrow. Absolutely. The public will move on and talk about something else. And as for the man, when you decide to be with someone, whatever their past is, or whatever your own past is, this is a new ground. As long as you have decided, you know what the past, nobody deceived anyone, and you're here, then let's move on and be married together and be happy.
I think the most important thing is we should do is try not to let people's judgment of you affect you. If you know that you are going to go on social media and people are abusing you and it's going to affect you, don't go on social media. Ban it from your house. Ban it. Nobody should come and don't come and tell me what they said about me on social media, because I don't want to know.
Exactly.
If I'm going through my Instagram and I see someone has criticized me, I delete the person, I block the person. I don't want it to affect me, because people's opinions of you will affect you.
Yeah, subconsciously.
And negatively.
Yeah.
Never in a positive way, especially if they are negative thoughts. I mean, I can just sit down in my house and just say, Miriam, she thinks she's this, and I will now come and put it on social media. Miriam, who did I go and commit suicide?
God in heaven.
Can you imagine? Because obviously this woman has allowed people, you know, one thing I admired about my father was he threw away the key of shame. He threw away the key of shame. Do you know what it is to throw away the key of shame? Nothing you say about me, nothing you do will affect me. I will still do. If it is pant and wear and it's paining you, kill yourself. It will not affect. He was not ashamed of anything that he did. Do you understand? So if I decide to do something, I'm not going to be ashamed of it. I will do it. And I will face the consequences when they come. But please, stay in your lane. Don't come and meet me with your negative thoughts. These people have just allowed people's opinions of them to
And I think
map their thoughts to.
I also think is a cultural thing. And I'm leaning towards saying it's a Yoruba thing. Because we're always about, what would they say? You know, we are very so conscious about what will people say. And oh my goodness, I think, thank God I think this show has helped me, Muriel, to realize that these people say thing is really, really nothing. Because you must be able to intentionally separate what they say from who you are. Because I have that moments where I'm so thankful that I have no idea what they're saying.
Yes.
I intentionally, when they people are telling me they're saying, I'm like, really? Are they saying really what happened? And I'm so happy that I have that power not to care. I have the platform. I don't read it, YK. For me to reply any message, wallahi, somebody told me. Either my brother or my husband or my Shehu called me, Amu, please, there's a person, somebody just reply you, please say something, say this person. You reply the person, and I'll go there and I'll check. But for me to sit down and read what they're saying about me, forget about it.
I don't read it, and if I mistakenly just see it, ma'am, I don't even react. I just block.
YK, you praise me, oh. I don't see it.
Thank you.
You criticize me, oh.
I don't see it.
Anyone, just do. Because even your praise can get to my subconscious. I'll be praised so much on social media. I'll come here, act as if, hey, and it's me, oh. Now only because of me that they're watching your view. Come on, man. Am I all right? It will enter your head. So I'm very conscious. I'm grateful that they're praising me and I thank you, wishing me happy birthday. But I would not sit down and be taking it in as if it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
No. I think it is the quest for perfection that it makes people seek unnecessary validation, because you need to be self-aware, just like you mentioned, to tell yourself that nothing anybody says about me matters. I'm in a competition with my own self. But when you are constantly seeking validation, you are afraid of making mistakes, then you will constantly worry about what other people think of you. Mistakes are parts of life.
Yes.
These are the things that actually make us who we are, our imperfections. Just learn from it and move on. Not just dwell on it because you want to appear as the saints, or you want to always appear as the winner. So when you now do not get your chance, you start feeling, you've lost.
I'm less than
You're less than
who I am.
Why can you remember when I said that my husband couldn't bath my daughter, and he was being seen as a pedophile? This is a man who praises God and worships God every morning. He felt that because he was very concerned at what people were saying, because he was shocked. Initially, when I told him, he had no idea what was going on until he opened the social media. This is what we are dealing with, So I can understand. He felt every eye was looking at him like, that's the guy. So he was embarrassed. He wanted to stay home. He didn't want to go to church the next day because he felt that as he's walking on the streets towards church, people are peeking, or even if it's on the altar, there are people who are looking like, that's the guy they said. So I can understand that feeling of embarrassment. That, oh my God, the whole world is now seeing me as this person. But however, what he got was family support. Those around him. And Brown he had badass confidence in himself. He knows who he is. He knows I'm not that, but it affected him a bit. But those of us around him were able to support him. So who is around you? As a woman, as a man, who are you surrounding yourself? What kind of positive energy do you have around you that when things fall down like you, who do you have to pick you up? Because you have to have people around you who can support you, remind you of the power you have inside you. So because you don't have that,
so that's a message to all of us too. What sort of person are you as well? When things are going good, are you the sort that's on other people's social media and sending them mean messages and judging everyone for what they're doing? And so finally it happens to you, and then you're ashamed.
You can't.
Because here you are, you've judged the whole world all around you, you're unable to take it. You have judged people for being in marriage. And they only spent 10 years, can you imagine? You've judged people, you go to their wedding and say, what kind of wedding dress is she wearing? Which hall is this? And then, then you judge people like, see her husband, he's too young, or he's too old, or he's not rich enough, or he's too, and then one day something happens to you, maybe it's really small thing. You cannot take it because you know what you have dished out.
Absolutely.
So be careful. Everything you do will come back to you.
It must return. Me, I'm a firm believer in the law of karma. If you face me, I do not, it must do 360 and come back to you. So anything recently, while I was in England, I had this interview with Chudi, and in the interview I said, I don't think my father should have had children.
Yes.
I did not say it in a bad way. If you watch the full interview, you will know. Fela was father to everybody, but he was not all individual. When they carried me inside, there were people, look, if you remember the number of people that sent me messages, what is this? You said this. Do you know what? I did not open any single one. And then the people that were very close to me, I said, go and watch the interview. 2 days sent me a message. I said, see what they're saying. Kept me correct it. He did. Then, but I did not dwell on it because I was with my grandchildren.
You know who you are now. I know what you said.
Self-awareness.
I heard the abuse they were abusing me. I didn't even bother to go and read one like this. So anybody that was abusing me was abusing himself.
Themselves, yeah.
Let me take Albert from Delta. Good morning, Albert. Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank
Live.
you. Thank you. And good
Get some
morning,
volume, I appreciate
ladies.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I am a regular listener and watcher of your program. So,
Thank you, sir.
but this is my first time calling.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. On the topic, I've listened to you ladies, and I just feel like I should make my own contribution on some of the issues that I said. Majority of your talk is centered on allowing people to do what they feel like doing, and people should not feel people should not feel depressed or kind of concerned about what other people say about them. That area I really like to talk about. You see, we all have freedom to do what we like, but we must know that what we like to do has to be positively impacting on people. That way, when people speak about you, whether you do good or bad, people will gossip you, either positively or negatively. But you have to be sure that what I'm doing is impacting on people positively. That way, you won't feel it. For example,
Thank you very much, Albert. We're social beings, definitely. So what people say about us definitely would mean something to us. So to affect us, what we're saying right now is that you have to protect yourself. Choose your audience. Choose the people around you who are feeding you, because that would help you. Because all of us will have these downtimes. Well, everybody at some point in our lives will have those downtimes that Farida had. Either your husband left you, either your wife left you, either you lost a spouse, or the child died. Something will happen or get to the point where you just want to end it all. But then that's when you look around you. Who do I have around? And how do you know who's around? Is based on who you have brought with you, who you have come. Even what's the word? Give me the English now.
Who you have built
Groomed. Who you have groomed to be around you. The kind of friends you've had with you. So that'll help. But let's take a few calls. You have something to say, Damala?
Yeah,
We have to wrap up on this.
Yeah, okay, I was just going to say that there are two types of shame. There's the healthy one, and then there's the toxic one.
Pause. Let me talk. We'll come to this is your shame in a second. Let me take Hassan. Thank you for reminding me on shame. Hassan, thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Please, you see, based on what the last
caller,
you simply erase that the guy has been going out with the lady, even in her former husband's house. That confirms that what happened to them is a law of karma. And these guys are not even supposed to be discussed on this table, because all of them are irresponsible people. You cannot be taking somebody's wife, bring her out of a matrimonial home and marry her, and expect her to be a good wife to you. It will never happen. It's a law of karma. These are irresponsible people. All of them, both the husband and the wife. They are not even husband and wife. Islamically, they are not husband and wife. That's it.
Thank you very much, Hassan. Okay, so I mean, a lot of people have shared your views that these are a bunch of irresponsible people and this is a law of karma. We had a lot of that. But the issue of shame, and it's important, and I hope we have an expert talk to us about how we can overcome shame. Because many of us have done things that are shameful. In the past, you have things that you feel that the whole world, nobody should know about it. You have secrets that you've kept. And if people know about it and you feel that a word gets out about this thing and you feel shame, you want to hide yourself and you want to end it all. How do we overcome shame? What are the various ways we can support friends who are feeling shame? Because people will make mistakes. Absolutely. So how do we help somebody? And hopefully we'll bring in somebody to help us on how to overcome shame in a professional way. But let me come to you, the thoughts on shame.
Yes, I was just going to, separate the two.
Okay, go ahead.
The healthy one is the one that lead to ethical behaviors in society. The healthy shame is the one that will make me not go on social media and expose my body, or, I go somewhere and maybe steal your stuff. Those are the kind of ethics that would actually keep you grounded as an individual. But the toxic one is one that makes you feel
less than who you are.
You are constantly shrinking because you think that you've done something that the whole world should not know. You are hiding, and that thing is constantly eating you up. It's taking up your life, taking up your energy. You are constantly seeking validation. So those are the ones that we need to help people with, to say that even if you have made a mistake, be man enough, be woman enough to take responsibility of that action. So I just hope the lady can give us more insight.
All right, let me go on a quick break that will come on the issue of shame. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. This is our last segment. We're discussing shame. And when we're growing up, you know, shame was something that when it happens, you hide yourself. You don't come out. That boy has put his family to shame. And they all just get sober. They mind their business. They don't go to social events because something has happened. Because now they are a symbol of shame. So when you've done something, even as an individual, that is shameful, what society expects of you to do, just keep quiet, stay in your corner, and don't say anything. But as the world is moving on, those who are shameless have taken center stage on social media. They've come out with boldness and confidence. And we're now in a world where it says, do you, be you, say your truth, say, be confident. So the shameless, the shameful, the confident, all of them, we all have the same platform. Yes. We're all on the same pedestal. So the conversation, therefore, is, what is shame today in 2023?
So you're right. The way we've always seen shame is you've done something, you feel like you've dishonored yourself, and then you take time away so that it's not constantly, you're not constantly in people's face, reminding people and reminding yourself of what you've done. And in the time that you're away, you self-evaluate and try and come back a better person. In fact, when you're coming back, it's not with your full chest. You'll be inching out small, so that people don't remember too much until you're able to earn people's trust. But then, where I started seeing it change, and for me it was in a positive way, was when we were talking about women who were dying in silence in domestic violent homes. And, the conversation then would be, the women didn't want to talk about it because they were ashamed. But in that case, it was shame that was misplaced. You were the victim. You did not have to be shamed into silence. The perpetrator is the person that should feel shame. But even society would shame the victim. We'll talk about rape cases where women will be raped, but they were shamed for even being in a particular place, but never because...
Sexual abuse. People, mothers would not talk about their daughters being abused by their fathers. Because, no, shame.
Exactly. That was shame, and that's why we're really happy about the emancipation of women.
And I used to hear this, be shameless. Be shameless. And I took it, I was like, yes, this makes sense. In this case, be shameless, but maybe the wording is not right. Maybe it's that you're the victim, you have no reason to be ashamed. The perpetrator, the violent person, the rapist, those are the people that need to feel shame. But you're right. Shame is now misplaced. Nobody is ashamed of anything. We don't even know what shame is anymore. There used to be a way we could use shame to even teach our children some things. But now when you are not ashamed, they watch on TV of people who are not ashamed.
1 second, let me take this call from Kasim, and I'll come to you, YK. Good morning, Kazim.
Good morning.
Thanks for calling. You're live.
Thank you very much. Very nice program. I always appreciate your program.
Thank you, sir.
And talking about the issue of marriage, you've said a lot. You said a lot. And I'm picking one or two things from what you have said. First of all, the issue of shame. What is the purpose for marriage? What are you going for? It is true that you need to define what you want when it comes to the issue of marriage. But mind you, even you yourself, when you are defining something, it sounds odd to you. Because you don't just see somebody and you said, what I'm going for is your money. it sounds awkward somehow. Yes, it could be what is propelling you to the marriage, but still, yes, I think personally it should go beyond.
Kazim? Oh, yikes. Sorry about that, Kazim. Somebody was going to come in. Mike was going to ask a question.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, those ones that go and remove their breasts on social media and do, should they be ashamed?
They're shameless now. That's the point. They don't. These are things that you'd have done in the past. And you'd be shamed. If your father sees a picture of you like that, you'd be scared, like, oh my goodness, I've brought shame to my family, I've opened up my breast to the whole world. You'll be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
But today, they'll tell you body positive.
Yes.
Show it. Yeah, let them know that.
So that's another way. So now shame.
Shame has a different color.
Yes, because we have women who would say they were shamed for being fat.
Yeah.
And now they come out and they show it. We have even pregnant women. Yeah. When you were pregnant, you would wear the biggest outfits, you cover it, because, you know, there's a way you should even, she carrying a big tummy everywhere. But now we have body positivity, where women are showing the belly and taking pictures with the belly
they
out.
wear tight fitting.
Yes, you wear tight. Now they even wear crop top. You know, Rihanna has changed the game now. They now wear crop top. You show the belly as you're walking around to say, I'm proud of this. This is natural, and I'm a proud mother, and I'm about to birth life. So, to be honest, sometimes the lines are blurred.
Okay, there's something I want to do. Let me take this call.
Is this a shameful event, or is this just positivity?
Alaji Bugatti, thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning, Auntie Morayo.
Alaji Bugatti.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Auntie Morayo.
Good morning, sir.
I'm one of your big fans.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Auntie Eni Kuti, I'm also your fan.
Good morning.
Auntie there. See, I'm not calling to really talk much about the only thing I would just say is, if you are not yet matured, don't go into marriage. You understand? I have a very good friend of mine that we went to do his marriage in the north. He said he wanted to marry a virgin after his first marriage crashed. He insisted he must be a virgin. He ended up marrying this lady. He went, paid the sadak, and did everything. They did the wedding. You know how some people do when we marry. You will marry, you will not do tests. You will not do test driving or anything. You just marry direct. And then when the lady got to his house, she was not a virgin. He was so pissed. He called me, Bugatti, come here, talk there. When I got to him, we sat down. He said, Bugatti, I'm hot. See what is happening, because we don't hide things from each other. It's my very close friend. And I said, look, do you love her? He said, yes. I said, shank that side. Are you yourself a virgin? He said, no. I said, shank that side. Forgive her. She lied because she really wants to marry you. She lied because she really loved you. She lied because she wants to be with you. She's not lying because she just wants to deliberately stab your heart.
Okay.
Do you know they've been married for 8 years now, and they have 3 beautiful children? Anytime you look at those children, they will call me and say, Bugatti, thank you. See the fine children where this lady give me. See the fine lady where this lady give me. So what I'm trying to say, you must have a deep level of maturity and beg God to guide you.
Okay.
Because this marriage of a thing can take you by surprise at any level, at any.
Alaji Bugatti, I hope you're still there. I want to find out if that's the name his father gave him. But thank you very much for that story.
See, let me tell you. When I was getting dressed for today, I have an inner top.
Yeah.
You know, and I looked, I was ashamed of my big stomach. So I wore a shirt.
Okay.
So that's why I'm wearing a shirt.
On your shirt.
Inside because of my big stomach.
Okay.
So are you
Where's his
saying
stomach?
I shouldn't be ashamed?
Mikey, where's his stomach? I don't understand.
Mikey, do you know
that's not the example I want. But let's find a better example.
Are you saying that I shouldn't be ashamed?
Of course not.
Of my stomach. I am ashamed
It's
of my
misplaced
stomach.
shame.
God bless you.
Why? Do you know how we look at you? Do you know you're a woman in your 60s? You are
63.
You are fit, you are fabulous, you are smart. I mean,
You're gorgeous.
many,
Oh my
see,
God,
do you
my
know
head
what
is
we're looking to you? Do you understand? Many people, when we see older people, we're like, so this is where we're headed. But you give us hope that, you know what, if you work out well, you take care of yourself, you will be this. Please, Waki, you have nothing, when it comes to your body, you have nothing to be ashamed of. You are
I'm
an inspiration.
That's why I don't show my
You are an
arms.
inspiration, please.
So shame is different
I
for
know,
people.
but you have no reason to.
So, okay, now the question is, now that we have all somewhat agreed
Yeah.
that today's shame is somewhat colorless, it's blurred, you know, it's not clear.
I do.
Therefore, in these cases that we're discussing, you know, Julius Agwu, Farida, and the Odulaja guy, should they therefore be ashamed of their past? Or are we now saying that let us define what shame is now? Let us categorize shame to be what it is, where this lady has this past and she does not deserve this she doesn't deserve to get into this relationship. Or this man who has this dirty past equally, and he shouldn't because he also has his own past. They shouldn't be in the marriage business at all. In fact, people like this should not even get married. Or are we saying that regardless of your shame, you should still be allowed? Is that where society is right now? That regardless of the kind of shame you think you carry, society today should still respect and regard you.
If you change your ways.
Well, should you change your ways?
Yeah, I think you've actually answered the question to say that no matter what, whatever happens to you, it's the way you rise up that matters. Your mistakes do not define you. So things will always happen in the course of your life. And I think we should differentiate between shame and self-confidence. You know, shame is the one that you would have, because I think because we are interchanging the words now, we are looking for the scenarios that actually
body positive, confidence.
So maybe there should be a clear definition between shame and self-confidence to say that, okay, shame is you ensuring that you do not bring disrepute to
yourself,
your family, and to those that love you. And self-confidence is you believing in yourself to say that
separation.
I know what I want as a person and I'm going to go after it. And that is very also important for parents to talk to their children as they are growing up, because you find a lot of parents, you know, talk badly about, you know, when they're angry. You know, children can really get on your nerves sometimes. But when you want to lash out, don't say that you are shameless. You don't have head. You don't have this. Don't bash them and bring their self-confidence down, such that
can confidence be
constantly looking for validation.
Confidence be owning your mistakes? Let me take this call now.
Yes.
Let me come to you in a second.
Shame.
Let me take Femi.
The definition of shame.
Femi calling from VGC. Femi, Victor, you're live. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Right. Good morning, everybody in the house.
Good morning.
Everybody. All right. Yeah, I want to take it from the point. I want to take it from the point of marriage and wedding.
Okay.
Right? What you do before you wed. Wedding is just it. So what you do before you wed is what you do after wedding. So they've been carrying this thing on before wedding. So it still shows up after that. Because wedding is just come and eat back.
Yeah.
But you must have been practicing your marriage before the day. And what you were doing is what you carry on to do. That is that. Coming to shame angle, like the lady that broke down shame for us, aesthetical shame and everything. Now, look at the way I see it, because I'm going to speak from the local room now, when boys talk. We have discussed this thing, and this is the effect of the savageness of social media. These people throw themselves in the social media, exposing themselves. Let you see me, now me be this, now me be that. Then when they have a thought, call me. Something happens to them, they want to kill themselves. She must have put herself in the open for everybody to see. So now it has happened. He's running, he wants to go and jump in the lagoon. My friends don't believe that lagoon is could have been staged. We all discussed this thing, and everybody brought up their opinion, just like people.
Thank you very much, Femi. I didn't get the last part. But
Yeah, but can I read the
please.
definition of shame? Shame is a painful feeling that's a mix of regret, self-hate and dishonor. A good person will feel shame if they cheated on a test or did something mean to a friend. Feeling shame or being ashamed is one of the most miserable feelings of them all. So let's put it in perspective. So people who are feeling shame that are pushed to suicide is because
They feel miserable.
they are feeling really, really miserable. Maybe in that case, Farida was feeling really, really miserable. That she spent so much on a wedding that has not lasted 2 months. I really don't know how it was that.
Yes,
really
yeah, me
thing,
too, yeah, we all-
you know. So that kind of person, I think they need psychologists.
Yeah.
Therapists.
They definitely
Therapists.
need definitely to. Let's take a few more comments
Yes,
for
I
wrap
was
up.
saying that I liked how you separated shame and confidence, self-confidence. And yes, earlier I was saying that maybe there are some things we shouldn't call that we're feeling ashamed about. Like you talking about your body. It should not be shame. It should be, okay, maybe I'm not confident to show it, or I don't feel confident to, but it's not shame. Maybe shame should come when it has to do with your character.
Something
when
you
has
have
to do
done.
with values, yes. Are you ashamed of what you have done? So if
overeaten.
someone, if someone is ashamed, if someone, let's say the person is a thief, and the person says, see, I'm a thief and I go with my full chest, you have not come to the realization that what you're doing is bad. You cannot feel shame until you realize what you are doing is bad.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? So it's foolishness when you come and, with your full chest and say, oh, I'm a thief. Oh, I cheated this person. I'm smart. There are people that even show up with that.
don't mind.
They do the
Yahoo.
most horrible things and they're excited about it. And the
That's
reason
not shame.
is it's not the shameless that we're talking about. Is that they have not even realized what they're doing is bad until the person that can feel shame is when the person looks inward and realizes, nah, this wasn't good. And so I feel shame about it. So so shame is actually a good thing. It's the step to changing, your ways. Then when you realize you've done something bad about it, then you try to change. So the advice would be, when you realize you're ashamed of something, that's not the time to try and jump off a bridge or to try and commit suicide or hurt someone else.
Mariam,
This is the
what you're
time
saying is very
to have
powerful. Oh. I'm
people
just getting it
around
now.
you. Yes.
What she's saying is that when you're shameful, when I'm feeling shame, I'm ashamed of myself, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling of realizing the light bulb has come out that, oh my God, I goofed.
Yeah.
Oh, I married this guy. Oh my goodness, I am this horrible person. That in itself is the first step into healing. Accepting that I goofed. So it's not time for you to jump. It's time for you to look within and see how you can get help. Because now that it's clear that this is the goof you've goofed, it's time for you to start healing.
And resist the urge to shalaye. Don't explain, because by the time you start explaining...
It can be therapeutic. You'll be surprised.
No, I mean, explain to
the
people that
world.
don't care.
That social
Explain
media
to
is not
people
your
who
world.
really want to listen, people who actually have a safe space.
I think social
Our final
media...
caller, we have to wrap up, YK. I'm so sorry. I think I have Kelechi, I believe, or who? Tommy. Thanks for calling, Tommy. You're live. I'm sorry, we lost our caller. We have to wrap up because we have a paid segment coming up. YK, let me let you have the last word.
No, I was just going to say, you made me lose my thoughts, but...
Oh, yikes. I do apologize. I have to wrap up, but I think this conversation started with when Julius Agwu had implied that it's possible his first wife married him for money. And then we're discussing why do we get married in the first place. And then we remembered the issue of Farida and her estranged husband, what happened and why they got married in the first place, the various reasons why people marry, and why do we judge people, and the point of shame. Why do you feel ashamed for the certain choices you've made? And should you be judged because of your past? However, Mariam then has now finally told us, even if you're feeling shame is actually a good feeling, because it's an indication of you being self-indicted yourself and then taking responsibility, accepting that you've done wrong. And then the next step, therefore, is to find healing, find counseling, find therapy, and how to fix it. It's when you don't even know you've done it wrong. That's when there's a different word for that.
That's when you are shameless.
Shameless, yes. God bless you. It's the shamelessness.
Realize that you're
The shamelessness that we should go over. But once you are shameful, that's a good thing. I think I like to end with that. So when shameless, that's a problem. When you're shameful, that's a good thing. It's going to break. When we come back, we'll bring in TVC's friends from Roulade. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We have our friends from Rollout Properties here with us. We have Mr. Oludotun Olaoye.
Morning,
He's
Maria.
the head sales marketing, Rollout Properties and Allied Services. Welcome to the show
Good
again.
morning. Thank you very much.
Good to have you, sir.
Yes.
I know you were watching the show earlier and you were talking about what do you call that thing?
The shame.
Yes.
I was.
He had his own experience.
I was saying that it's a difficult topic.
Yes.
But you did justice. So I used to have this shame about being an average height. Yes. And so I intentionally began to make friends with taller people so that I can instill myself confidence that I'm enough, I'm adequate. And then over time, I just realized that it's not anything, it's just lack of confidence in what you're capable of.
All right,
the problem before was that people just overlook you.
Uncle, let's go to your market. We don't hear it, but thank you very much. So what sets Roller Properties apart?
Oh, okay. So first of all, Roller Properties is a brand that you can trust. But now we are in a world where owning a prime real estate is looking like an elusive dream to some people. And that is where we come in as an organization to bridge the gap between affordability and quality. There's this general school of thought that if it is quality, it is expensive. If it is affordable, it is not quality. Right? And so we feel like there has to be a nexus where people can have quality and at an affordable rate, right? And so how are we doing this? We have developed unyielding dedication to scouting and securing prime locations, such that our clients are not just buying land or home, but they are having an address that resonates with their aspirations. And so for us, it's about community, it's about comfort, right? It's about a sense of belonging. And all of our projects, if you check it, they reflect our core values: respect, integrity, excellence, quality. I think this is what sets us apart really as an organization.
Okay, can you give us a recap of the success of Legend City 1 and how that has helped to, pave the introduction of Legend City 2?
I remember that a few weeks ago, I was here talking about Legend City 1. I was like, Legend City Estate, where we are gathering legends. And trust me, we are still gathering legends. But a quick recap. One thing we learned again, we've learned this with every project, but again, we learned that people are actually very concerned about their future. Securing their future, not just for themselves, but for their children and their children's children. You see people in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria that still understand the value of creating wealth through real estate. That being said, a lot of people that have become landowners in Legend City, that have fulfilled all of their obligations, I'm happy to tell you, from the time I was here and now, they've all gotten their properties.
Wow.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. We can do that again. We can do that again. Right? And that's fantastic. One of the features we also promised at Legend City is perimeter fencing and all of that amenities that makes life comfortable for the residents. I can tell you that as I speak, the perimeter fencing is going up and things are going fantastic. However, there is still continuous demand for property acquisition in a vibrant location like Epe. So we have now decided to carefully curate Legend City 2 to cater for the preferences of those that are still seeking more to buy in Epe. So that's how we've come.
Well done. I mean, when you started, you were talking of how you're making sure prime locations and also affordable.
Yes.
What payment plans or affordability plans do you have right now on ground to help someone who doesn't have so much but is looking at prime locations like this and would like to have?
Okay, so Legend City Epe is one location you want to buy. Our prices are designed to allow you enjoy and experience all of the value that you can get. Currently, one plot, 500 square meter in Legend City Epe, is selling for 2 million naira, a pre-launch price, a pre-launch discount. A 300 square meter is selling for 1.2. I tell you that this is one of the deals that you don't want to miss out on. Many a times when we set this price point, I keep saying to my team, I said, we are letting people take advantage of us, and we are happy doing that, right? Because we have been able to find that nexus point where you get quality and then you get it at an affordable rate. So 2 million naira for one plot, 1.2 for half a plot. In fact, if you are paying it at once, you get a 10% discount. How cool is that? So instead of 2 million, you still pay 1.8. Come on now, right? And then if you're not paying it at once, you get to even spread your payments for up to 12 months. It's easy, it's convenient, it's not breaking the back. And that is what is exciting about acquiring your landed properties from rollout properties.
How does investing in land, particularly a project like Legend City 2, offer stability and growth in prospects?
Okay, so that question, I heard that question two ways. Why should we buy land in Ekpe? What do we stand to gain?
Yeah.
That's how I heard that question. So I'm going to pick it one by one. So why should you acquire a property in Ekpe? Why? Why should you buy Legend City? Why should you buy a project like Legend City 2.2 with Roller Properties? I'm going to run down in 4 things. 1, it's a strategic location. 2, it's affordable. 3, they are good infrastructure. Let me pick it one by one and just run through it. Strategic location in the sense that Ekpe is at the center of development boom, what we call a development boom. How do I mean? Number 1, it's at the gateway of Ibejuleki, which is the fastest growing place in Lagos right now. And you know all the infrastructural things that are going on in Ibejuleki right now. Number 2 is that it has a center of terminal point for a lot of development. The international airport is just 40 kilometers away from Legend City, the agricultural hub and logistic hub. You have the African Film City. These are points that people exit and entry, right? And when you see people in a particular place, what do you see is economic value. So a place like Ekpe is at the center of what we call a development boom. So, and this is what converts to hit the primeness in its location.
Okay.
And so we are inviting people, we are telling you that you need to come and be at the ground floor of this development boom. Now, that now leads me to the fact that with all of these fantastic we are talking about, it's affordable. It is still affordable. You can't buy 500 square meter at Ikoyi for 2 million naira. It's not possible. But there was a time you can buy it for 500,000 naira.
Yes.
So now it is still affordable. And I tell you, we all know the laws of demand and supply. Yeah. When there is more demand and there is scarcity or there is no supply, what happens to the price? It goes on. And that leads me to the third point. Potential high returns is still assured in Ekpe right now. And that's why you want to buy. Talking about good infrastructure, you can actually literally close your eyes and move around in Ekpe because the road is nice. And these are the things that are supporting the development that are coming into Ekpe because the infrastructure is good. So if corporates, if big organizations like that are going there, why shouldn't you? Now that it's still affordable. So what do you stand to gain? You hear a lot of people that says that, oh, it helps to hedge inflation. But let me explain that a little bit further. Number 1, a real estate is a tangible asset, which means that it is not volatile like every other investment. So it can't go away. You can touch it, you can feel it, right? And so which means that it helps you to store the value of your wealth, helps you to generate more of it, and you can transfer that wealth with real estate. So number 2 is that it has intrinsic value. In an unstable economic like we have, you can either use your real estate property as a shelter or use it to generate income. Either way, in a weak economy, you have value. You can generate value with your real estate property. Number 3 is that it is a long-term investment. Okay. What does that mean? It means that there's no short-term market in fluctuations that can affect your investment. So over time, the value appreciates and you can still get full value of it. And like we all know, you can leverage real estate for more funds, for more investment, for more returns. So these are the things you get, especially when you buy a property in a prime location like Legend.
Salaye,
yes?
I have to ask you, are you a co-owner of this company? Are you a staff? Because did they apply for the company? Now you own the company. I'm just asking.
It is the passion.
Yes.
Because I'm like, you really believe in this. Like, you think that now you can get the company.
We are not just selling land.
The owner of the company can't talk up to him.
Even Halima too Halima will come to, she say, I want to, auntie, now you get company. They now brought the replacement, and this one self too. People have really internalized the brand, which I'm really, you remind me of myself when I was in High TV. I had internalized the brand, so I'm really well done.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
So
really
we want to encourage
impressive.
everybody. Call us on your screen. Reach out to us. Our website is www.rolloutproperties.com.
You can't see it. Maybe they'll show it. Okay, now
Yeah,
it's
so
on screen.
www.rolloutproperties.com. You can reach out to our social media pages at Rollout Properties Ltd. These are the numbers on your screen. Our consultants,
Okay,
our experts are waiting
Please,
to take your
we have to
questions.
run.
And
MD Roller, please increase his salary. He's not paid enough. Whatever it is you're paying him. Well done.
thank you very much.
That is all we can take on today's show. I hope we've learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.